So in this video, I kind of want to just break down the process of making Trial Time. It was a project that took a while, honestly a lot longer than I wanted it to. It's a project I've thought about for a really long time, so it's really something I want to see myself make. So I was thinking we could kind of break down how I got the idea and then just kind of go into my pre-production, production, and post-production of the project. So starting with the idea, I kind of broke this down in another video I just recently made. I'll link that above. But the idea came from just being really inspired by a Call of Duty zombie short film that came out over 10 years ago now by My Name is Banks. It's a short film that's inspired me for a really long time, and I really wanted to make something like it for a really long time. I tried when I was younger, just didn't really have the experience to make it back then. So I thought I'd try to take a stab at it now because I've gained a lot of experience since then. Now, this was a project I was making in between having a 9-to-5 job. So it was really something I was only making in my free time, which is one reason it took a long time. Another reason is I'm not the best at VFX or compositing or CGI, anything like that. So this was kind of like a learning experience too, just to kind of challenge myself and see if I could do it. So since it had been so long since being inspired by that short film, initially my idea when I was younger was to make a Call of Duty short film as well. But lately, Call of Duty just hasn't inspired me like it did back then. So I wanted to make something based on a game that I really have enjoyed lately, and that was Outlast Trials. I just think it's a game that's been really fun lately. It's one of the best multiplayer experiences I've had in a long time, and I just wanted to do something fun for the Outlast community. Now, my idea for this wasn't to really have a story-based short film. I really just wanted to put myself in a video game. So this isn't really a super story-driven short film. It's more of like a fun visualizer kind of that just includes me in the game, which I had fun doing. I would like to make a more story-driven one down the line, but that's something I'd really want like a team to help me make, and I'd probably need locations and more stuff like that. So I could maybe do it the way I did it with this, where I filmed the backgrounds in the game itself and then composite me into them, but it would just take a really long time to get that story kind of down, and I really just wanted to put something out there and kind of move on from a project that I've kind of had in my head for over 10 years now. So let's jump into the pre-production of this project. I want to start with where I kind of found inspiration for the look and feel of this short film. I always kind of start on Pinterest. I think Pinterest has a lot of cool inspiration on there, honestly. My algorithm for Pinterest is really catered to me now, so I'm kind of able to find what I need pretty fast there now, and I really found a lot of pretty cool aesthetics and different visuals that really pertain to what this project was. Did I really go in that direction too much? Not really, honestly, but it was really good for kind of keeping me motivated to make something cool. So I made a pretty cool Pinterest board that kind of helped me just stay visually interested in the project and kind of kept just like ideas flowing for me. So like I said, the short film wasn't really story driven. It was more visually driven. So I didn't really need to write a script for it. I really just needed to get the idea of what was going to happen when and in what order. Instead of scripting, I kind of just went straight into storyboarding. I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. I just really had sequences in my head that I wanted to include in the short film. So I started just drawing out sequences that I thought would be cool to represent in the short film. So I just had like a couple pages in my notebook of just, I think this sequence would be cool. I think this sequence would be cool, kind of just to get my ideas out there on paper. And then I went from there and kind of put them in an order that I thought would kind of be visually pleasing and kind of have a little bit of momentum to it. Something I really wanted to do with this was have kind of cool match cuts that really flowed into one another and kind of made sense at the same time while kind of keeping, like I said, the momentum going. So that's kind of where I went with that when I was storyboarding, and you can see my storyboards here. They're really similar, pretty much exactly what ended up being in the short film. I think storyboarding is one of the most useful tools when you're making a short film. I've said that in some other videos. It just helps you see the movie before you even make the movie, which I think is really helpful when you go to filming, because I can feel a little lost when I'm just pressing record and trying to figure it out on the spot. So I love having storyboards when I'm working. So next was building props. I really only needed to find a costume for myself, which would be me just being a reagent in the game. I kind of wanted to be a basic reagent. I didn't want to have like crazy costume or anything like that. So I found a t-shirt that really represented, I guess, the most basic costume that you can have in the game. Just some like forest green cargo pants with a gray t-shirt with some black trim on it. It's pretty much exactly a costume that you can have in the game. For the goggles, I just got some goggles on Amazon. I do wish I could have found something a little more detailed, but honestly, there's not many good night vision props out there, I came to find out. So I just kind of went for the basic solution on that one, which I think it kind of gets the idea across. It's not as detailed as I'd like it to be, but really the prop building went into making the chest piece for the reagent. I just took some boxes that kind of felt like they were the right size. I painted them same color as like kind of, again, the basic chest piece that you can have in the game. And then yeah, that was kind of the longest process when it came to prop building. I like how it turned out. It definitely has like an art house feel, which is something I enjoy, but I do think it looks decent at the same time. So yeah, I was happy with how that turned out, and I wanted to test how it looked on camera first before even jumping into green screen stuff and all that. So I had made like kind of a concept commercial before even jumping into the trial time short film, and that was really just supposed to be test shots of me wearing it. I kind of just wanted to use it and kind of get some momentum into creating something, because it had honestly been a while since I made a short film. So I decided to use that test footage to kind of make a little concept commercial, which I was kind of happy with how it turned out. I literally had just shot that as test footage, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to use this and kind of try to tell a little story with it. And then I ended up compositing myself into a little shot at the end where I'm playing chess with myself, which I actually think turned out pretty good. So that shot itself was actually kind of the basis for how I was going to approach doing this whole trial time short film. So before I started filming the short film, I wanted to collect references too. So I just went in the game. I used OBS to kind of just film myself from a third person standpoint. I needed to use two games so I could have one kind of be the camera and then the other player be the reference as far as being able to scale myself to the right size and kind of just keeping the dimensions right when I did place myself in the game. So I went and took quite a few test shots in the Outlast Trials game itself. Some of me waking up in bed, some of me just sitting in the chairs when you're waiting for the game to load, some of me sitting at the chess table, some of me pushing the snitch, just to get some size references so when I do place myself in the game, I feel like it looks right. And that actually was really helpful. If you see the side by side of me in the game versus the game footage, it actually looks pretty accurate in my opinion. So I was really glad I did that, because that was really helpful when I was trying to size myself and composite myself in these shots. So now moving on to the production of Trial Time. Shooting this kind of stuff is always something I kind of loathe in a way. I don't ever really want to get all set up and then find out I have to go refilm stuff. So I really try to knock it all out in one day, because getting just like ready in the costume, I feel like it takes a lot of time. So I just like to try to knock it out in one day. I will say I didn't light myself as good as I could have, but again, this was kind of just like a test and a challenge for me to try to composite myself in this game. So I did knock out all the filming in one day, and I was glad I did, because I really did not want to go back and film again. So I used everything I did that day and kind of just started piecing the shots together, and that's kind of where we jump into the post-production. For post-production, I kind of would chip away at it. Again, I was working my 9-to-5 job while I was doing this. I just kind of try to get the sequences one after the other and really kind of hone in on them and just try to put myself in that sequence, not like finalize the shot, but really just get the sizing right and like the composition right, and then do that for each sequence. And then later on, once I kind of pieced it all together, I'd go in and get some fine details done. It was a long process, I'm not gonna lie. Again, this is not something that I am super familiar with, but I am honestly really happy with how the final result came out, and it seems like the Outlast community has been really happy with the results too, which makes me happy, because this is a project that took a long time and it's kind of taken my attention away from making more narrative driven short films, because that is my first love, is making stories. But this is just something I really wanted to do to kind of pay homage to a short film that has inspired me for a really long time, because that short film, it really did change the way I kind of saw short films. It was something that was a short film that kind of had a Hollywood feel to it, and I really enjoyed that and appreciate him for doing that all by himself. It was a one-man crew that he did that with, so I kind of wanted to just try something like that myself. Do I feel like I did that? I feel like I made something that I'm proud of, definitely. I don't have the skills that he has when it comes to CGI and compositing and all that. It was a challenge for me to do this, and I am happy with the results, and I'm happy to put something out there that I'm proud of and show people, which is always kind of my goal when it comes to making short films. So thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the love that I've gotten on Trial Time. Moving forward, I'm going to try to stick to some more narrative driven short films. I have quite a few ideas in mind, and this next year I'm going to hopefully knock out 2 of those ideas is my goal. One of them, which is actually video game based again, but more character driven, and then another that is kind of based on a show that I love, one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm not going to name it now, I'm going to keep it a surprise, but I appreciate all the the support on this channel. I hope this is kind of content that filmmakers find useful. That's kind of why I do this. I'm trying to make content that I kind of wish I had as a filmmaker growing up. I appreciate y'all, and you guys have a good one. Peace out.